EU and Google propose a ban on facial recognition. The EU is considering a new law that would prevent private and public actors from using facial recognition in public spaces for a definitive period, like 3 to 5 years. Microsoft says it's bad because they're developing facial recognition.
Yep.
You don't say. They say you don't ban it if you actually believe there's a reasonable alternative that will enable us to, say, address this problem with a scalpel instead of a meat cleaver, said Brad Smith, Microsoft president. Google supports the move.
Which is interesting to me.
Which is shocking.
Yeah.
I think it's important that governments and regulators tackle it sooner rather than later and give a framework for it. Although in light of some of the recent fines that they've received, some of which have actually been more than a slap on the wrist, like the COPPA one, I can see why Google might say, well, yeah, okay, fine. Why don't you lay out your stupid ground rules and then we'll go and innovate a bunch of stuff and we'll wait.
Instead of the other way around.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that kind of does make sense from their angle, I guess.
I think it's, oh man, I'm torn actually. So
this is private and public. Does this include government? Because I know UK is super well known for just having cameras everywhere.
Yeah. So this would be in public spaces.
Okay.
Yes. So you would still be able to develop it and test it, just not in public spaces.
In your store or whatever else.
Alex apparently put some of his own thoughts in here, says this is a really good idea, but counterintuitively, the accuracy of facial recognition apparently drops as you add more faces to the pool, but that would also get better as the algorithms continue to learn.
Yeah. It gets better when you add more of one face, but it doesn't get better when you add more of a bunch of faces. If that makes sense.
So, yeah, there's a lot of issues with facial recognition. Here's a fun example. At the Notting Hill Carnival, where 2 million people attended, the police used facial recognition to try to find wanted criminals. 96 people were flagged, and only one was actually wanted and had already been arrested. So it's obvious there's a lot of work to be done, but my sort of flip side argument to this, and take this as someone who has already completely given up their privacy and shares their innermost thoughts on the internet. So for me, it's not only has the ship sailed, it came back and then sailed again and came back. It's a ferry, it's
daily trips.
Yeah. From my point of view,
probably a surprising amount of the audience is actually in a pretty similar space, considering the things that they use.
I'd love for it to just be better, but the flip side of that is that I don't live somewhere where my government is oppressing me. With that said, no government that is going to use facial recognition to oppress its citizens is going to even consider accepting this ban anyway, so it's a completely academic conversation in that case. Get real. China's going to be let's ban it in public spaces for 3 to 5 years.
There's a large variety of different types of oppression. I think people might take, I don't know where I'm going with that sentence, but I think people might go against that.
They think that a government that intends to use it for repression is going to ban its use in public spaces?
They might
to itself?
No. You said, or maybe you didn't say this. I thought you said repression in general, not just this form.
Oh, just repression in general. Yeah. So
but there's different kinds. So they might be okay, let's not use facial recognition, but we're still gonna.
No. I just mean I live somewhere where I get to enjoy a very high level of personal freedom.
Yeah.
So for me, it's very easy to say I just want the tech to get better, so that in the event that they are looking for someone who, is running around with a meat cleaver murdering children, that they can catch them real fast.
They should add meat cleaver recognition. I don't think anyone's necessarily gonna stop developing this in the background, though.
No, they're not.
So its use might halt.
Yeah, and I think it will stall development.
Probably because it'll be a little bit harder to test on wide scale. And
it'll make it more difficult. Yeah. With that said, I totally agree that if your development plan is to just use it on unwitting guinea pigs who are wandering around in the street, that's a bad plan.
Yeah.
So, you know what? There.
Pay some random citizens to come around and walk around in an arena.
Mark down this day. Mark down this day. I changed my opinion between the start of a topic and the end. I already thought it was a good idea, but I was well, here's this counter argument. I no longer have a counter argument. I like it. Let's just nuke it for a few years. Keep developing it sort of quietly in the background.
I'm gonna flip sides. just to try to drag you back.
You have got to be kidding me.
No.
No, I don't want to do this.
So somewhere that they don't ban this, those companies that operate out of those areas will now have an advantage.
So you're saying like Chinese companies are going to have this
Sure.
immense advantage
Yeah.
in like AI and machine learning facial recognition. Oh crap.
So then is there, like, what are you actually really helping then? Because it's not going to be banned
All right,
everywhere.
I'm back.
It's just being
I'm back
banned
on
in the
board.
EU.
Don't ban it.
It's not even right now being proposed to be banned in the US.
Nope, I'm back.
Yeah.
I'm back. Okay. Forget it. You win. You win twice. How does it feel?
That was awesome. I like it.
You were just waiting to do that, weren't you?
A little bit.
The whole time.
Yeah.
You monster.